Fault in Our Stars was a rose-tinted version of my experience with someone I love having cancer. And this film is the reality. Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl was released the summer of 2015. As per usual, my mom and I saw it at release. I think we saw it because we thought it would be touching and sweet, kind of like The Fault in Our Stars. And, we loved it. When it came out on DVD, she bought it and I watched it, immediately. Now, also like The Fault in Our Stars, I connect this to my mom because of cancer. But on my rewatch, I noticed the key difference. This film brought guilt. See, like I mentioned in the Fault in Our Stars section, I, a lot of the time, pretended that my mom wasn't sick, or that she wasn't going to die. And in this film, Greg does too. He's awkward about it, doesn't want to talk about it. He makes everything about him and how this situation sucks for him, even though Rachel is the one dying. Honestly, he was a bit of an asshole, and unfortunately so was I. I remember when I saw this film, my mom and I got a little upset at Greg because there's a scene where Rachel tells him she plans to stop treatment because it isn't working. And Greg flips out. He starts yelling at her, calling her selfish, guilt-tripping her with, "What about your mom? She'll be alone when you die," which is gonna happen if you start treatment, just so you know. It's all very fucked up. In my first viewing, I thought that it was a horrible thing to say. And then I did it too. My mom never stopped treatment. In fact, she kept fighting to the bitter end. So when I argued with her, it wasn't about that. In fact, I don't remember exactly what it was I was yelling at her about. I just know I was furious, and rage was flowing out of me like boiling lava, and my mom was the target. And I remember her finally saying, "I'm sick. Do you realize that I'm sick?" And I just screamed at her that I know that she was. And that's why I was upset. And before I could even finish my sentence, she just walked away because she was too tired to deal with it. I felt horrible afterwards. In fact, just watching this film made me feel bad on multiple points. From the yelling to the fact that I did have the privilege to pretend that it wasn't happening, as I was 800 miles away at school. Though on further introspection, I think that's how she wanted it to be. See, in the film, due to Greg spending so much time making the movie for Rachel or just spending time with her, he stops doing schoolwork. Literally. Despite having a mindset that he wants to make his life as easy as possible, he basically destroys that just so he can spend time with Rachel. Now, this parallels with me, or rather, the opposite of my situation, as my mom never told me the details about her sickness. And if she did, it was always delayed. A few examples is she was diagnosed on my 19th birthday, so I didn't find out until a week later. And during my sophomore year of college, we spoke twice a day, yet I didn't find out about her mastectomy until a week before it happened, because that's when she decided that she wanted me to be there. Or finally, my mom's health had been declining for about 2 months prior to her death. She had been in and out of the hospital multiple times, but I didn't find out about any of that until 2 days before I came home, which was 12 days before she died. According to her friends, doctors, and my grandmother, she did this because she didn't want her sickness to distract from my schoolwork. Now, on one hand, it was nice, to live in ignorance. Ignorance is bliss, as they say. But on the other, this one weighs far more. I wish I could have been there. I wish I could have been there for the chemo appointments. I wish I could have spent every day of her last year on Earth with my mom. Now, I know that she was sick, and my track record at the time with sickness was horrible, and it showed that if I had been there, I might not have been able to handle it. That watching my mom slowly die would have sent me into a depression like no other. But still, I would have wanted to be with her, sit next to her, watch TV with her, eat with her, or be able to hug her every day, or find little ways that I could have made her life easier. But I didn't get to do that because my mom was protecting me from being sad. Though I feel like, no, I know that whatever sadness watching her be sick would have brought, it most definitely wouldn't have been as bad as the sadness I feel that she is not here. You know, I know that if I had dropped school, dropped everything, something I was prepared to do when I got home from Tennessee and realized how sick she was, I realized if I had done that, my life most definitely would have turned out differently, or all of the great things that have happened to me within the past year would have came much later. There's a part of me that still wanted to play the gambit, so to speak, and spend that last bit of time strictly with her. Outside of all that, another point of regret I got from watching this movie is Greg is a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker. Gregory made a film for Rachel before she died. And as a filmmaker, I'm like, why the fuck didn't I do that? Though I suppose I could still do that. Just would suck, because, she won't get to see it. On a lighter note, Rachel reminds me of my mom. She's goofy and also with an odd sense of humor. And, supports the emotionally stunted Greg type, me. Even if it was always fucking infuriating.